teacher who can teach you, a competent teacher who can teach you the Arabic language. Also with that, so being humble, because the ulama of the past and even our ulama of today, they learned by having proper manners. So there's a certain way of studying. So be consistent is another thing. This might not necessarily be under the sunnah, but I would just say be consistent in your study. Consistent in studies. And related to myself, and I've seen many people, some of my cohorts or colleagues that I began studying Arabic alongside them. Some of them were ahead of me and some were after me, but a lot of them surpassed me because they were consistent. And probably just from the tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I had many companions who we've studied Islam more or less around the same amount of time, but they were consistent. And their level of knowledge is much higher because Allah gave them tawfiq for number one, and they had sincerity, but they were sincere and strong students of knowledge, and they were consistent. They didn't stop. So make sure that if you're going to study the Arabic language that you have, or even Islam, that you are consistent. Do not stop. When you finish one book, try your best to, hopefully your teacher will be able to take you to the next book. And the next book, finish the series or whatever, because this is going to give you something. It's going to give you a tool that you're going to build the rest of your studies on. Once you learn Arabic, and if you learn it good, there's a difference between people who know the Arabic language very good and those who learn it so-so. And those, and then everywhere in between. It doesn't mean you have to be a translator and this and that and the other. Some people, Allah has favored them with the gift they can translate on spot. The sheikh is speaking in Arabic and they can speak in English, and they're not native speakers. Some people know it takes for them, they need to go to the dictionary and so forth. Whatever the case may be. The point being is being consistent and as we mentioned, being sincere, and also studying strong and finishing a set of books. If you're studying the Medina books, which are really popular, then study the 3 Medina grammar books. You need a teacher to take you to those levels, and you also will probably study the other books in the series to complement that, because it's very difficult to just study those 3 books and necessarily be competent, because those books are grammar books. The books that we usually study from the Medina series that most people are familiar with are grammar books, basically. So they're not necessarily geared for in-depth speaking and some of the other skills that complement, because acquiring a language, learning a language, requires integrating those skills and being consistent. So that's very important. Also realizing what you want to learn the Arabic. Do you want to learn Arabic because you just want to go to the text, or do you want to learn Arabic because you also want to be able to speak and communicate in Arabic speaking lands? Whatever the case may be, you want to be able to talk to the ulama, what have you. So then you'll need a level of also learning how to speak. You'll learn reading, writing. You need all those skills, and they complement each other. Some people, they have a lot of Arabic, but they can't write. To write an Arabic essay requires certain skills, and it requires a certain level of competence. To write research, that's a whole nother level. Whatever. Depends on what your intention is for learning the language. So being consistent, being humble, seek knowledge from people who are knowledgeable in the subject. Another point I want to mention, if you go and seek knowledge, meaning go take a rihla li talab al-ilm, you want to go and you want to study in another country. There are many places to study, walhamdulillah, and to travel to. Unfortunately, with all the attention that we have going on in the world, it's not always easily accessible to get to many